Critical race theory, a flashpoint in school board meetings across the country, and an issue that fired up parents. It played a big role in the election of Glenn Youngkin to be the next governor of Virginia. But some Democrats say that it should be a non-issue, including a Virginia mom who we spoke to on the story on Election Day.
I don't think people necessarily truly understand what critical race theory is. Younger children are not being taught critical race theory. They can't understand critical race theory. They're being taught history.
All right, let's bring in Meghan McCain, former co-host of The View and author of the awesome audio memoir, Bad Republican. She's also a columnist for the Daily Mail, U.S., and writing great columns, and she wrote one on this today. So, Meghan, it's great to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. So, I want to play that soundbite from Nicole Wallace again, which is so definitive on this topic. Listen.
The real ominous thing is that critical race theory, which isn't real, turned the suburbs 15 points.
And everyone sort of nods. Oh, yeah, that's right. It is not real. It is not happening. What do you say, Meghan?
I watched that happen live, and I just thought it was really bizarre when you have the kind of shellacking that Terry McAuliffe had, and then you look at all these parents in Virginia. I'm now a parent in Virginia, talking about how education and critical race theory played a huge role in why they ended up voting for Glenn Youngkin. And I just thought it was very strange that there's a complete and utter denial that critical race theory exists and is being taught. There's ample evidence of it being taught in many states across the country. And if it's something that doesn't exist, why are Democrats so riled up at the idea of it being banned places?
Yeah, this is an op-ed written by a teacher in Chicago. It appeared in the Chicago Tribune. The headline is, "I am a teacher, and yes, critical race theory is in your school." And she talks about the fact, she gives people like points to look for. If you see that there's discussion of race that's sort of integrated in every single course in math and science and everything else, what is it that is so potentially dangerous about this that has so many parents really reflecting on it and voting on it, Meghan?
Yeah, I think it's because it starts out with the premise that all children are either the oppressor or the oppressed, which is a bizarre way, in my opinion, to go about teaching things like math and science. I think it is something that has caught on recently with teachers and parents paying much more attention to what teachers are teaching, which happened as a result of COVID and Zoom classes. And Democrats have done this to themselves, and it's strange. Instead of taking responsibility, like some Democratic analysts have, to sort of double down and just say this doesn't exist. All parents in Virginia are either too racist or too stupid to understand what they voted for, and to continue on this path. And I think Democrats should keep doing it because it's 100% a recipe for success for Republicans going into midterms and the general election. But I just wrote this column because I just thought it was so weird to see the kind of failure of an election we just saw in Virginia, and the response being this doesn't exist and all parents in Virginia are racist.
Yeah. I thought this was also kind of stunning. This is from Saturday Night Live because Winsome Sears is the new lieutenant governor of Virginia, and they went after her on the update segment on SNL the other night. Watch this.
Republican Winsome Sears, seen here attempting suicide by cop, was elected as Virginia's first black female lieutenant governor. But this is actually a win for Democrats because nothing will get Republicans to support gun control faster than this picture.
What do you make of the backlash against her?
I think it's awful. I think it's a historic moment, and the fact that she's a Republican, and by the way, a veteran, it should be getting much more applause. If she were a Democrat, she would be on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, but instead she's being, a punchline on Saturday Night Live. She has herself offered to go on shows like Joy Reid and have educated, calm conversation about her beliefs versus her skeptics, and they haven't invited her on, which I think is disgraceful. I'm personally extremely excited that she's now my lieutenant governor, and, it's just a glaring example of the hypocrisy of the left. Everyone is someone that should be celebrated. Any woman in office is someone that should be celebrated unless they are a conservative woman. But it doesn't matter because those of us see it for what it is, and it is a historic moment. And I have high hopes for the kind of leadership she's going to bring into Virginia.
Yeah, she doesn't count. The boxes that are being checked are apparently not of note to some people. So we're going to talk more in our podcast that's coming
really
up.
Quick, it's better to have a blackface governor who appeared in blackface and or a Klan's outfit than have a first conservative black woman as lieutenant governor. That's what's okay for the left right now.
Yeah, great point. Meghan, thank you. Great to have you here. We're going to talk more in the podcast coming up.